You know, sometimes life's hardest moments teach us the most valuable lessons. Isn't it funny how it works out that way? But because it's sometimes hard to see all of that when you're living in it, today we're learning along with women who have faced struggles and still managed to find hope and find happiness. Studio 5 contributor Dr. Liz Hale is here to share their stories. I know you've got a tissue in hand because these are tender stories and these women are close to your heart.
Yes, they are. You know, it's so interesting that nothing in life does have to be wasted. And it seems like we learn things the hard way. And some of our studio viewers even tipped into that. Is like, what have you learned the hard way, right? Was the question we
threw that out on Facebook and Instagram. And I have to say, some of the responses were really insightful, right? That's when you're forced to dig deep, I guess.
I suppose so. And I think the most important story or point for us as women is not only are we here in this life to learn, but I think we're also here to share. I really value when my friends and family will share with me. And I'm a really good student because I think anything that happens to you is going to probably happen to me. Maybe a little paranoid. But you know, this whole idea came from a conversation I had with Rosie, my cousin, Roselle. Call her Rosie for short. But Rosie is one of those women who's had a lot of loss in her life. She lost a mother at the age of 4. And then she lost an adult daughter when she was delivering this healthy baby. It was terrible. She went through a divorce. She found this great marriage with Mike. They've been married for about 20 years. And suddenly, just after Christmas, last Christmas, Mike had a heart attack and just tipped over at his desk, and that was it.
Oh, my gosh.
And she said, you know, as great as our marriage was, I know that this next marriage, the next marriage I hope to have one day, would be even better because of the things I learned. I was very task-oriented. I have some regrets. I wish I'd jumped in the truck with Mike more often when he was running errands. I wish that a couple of times we were at the beach that instead of working on the quilt for our grandson, I got up and went and walked on the beach with him. You know, I didn't because I wanted to focus on this quilt, and now my grandson's here and my husband's not. And I really wish I'd learned to live more with the end in mind.
We're like that as women, though, aren't we? So task-oriented that sometimes we miss the moments that are happening right in front of us. So what a beautiful lesson to live with the end in mind.
I think so. You know, what if this were the end? You know, I have so many friends of mine who've lost husbands early in life, and one even just lost now. After losing a husband, she's lost a fiance. Suddenly, he had a rare form of cancer. So again, their stories do help me appreciate my own life and try to live in the moment.
Ah, thanks for sharing her story. What a brave woman. Your friend Wendy, and another example of amazing strength.
Yeah.
And most of us would question it if we would be so strong in the similar circumstances. Right. Tell us her story.
So this happened about 2 decades ago. Wendy was living in Hawaii with her husband Mike and 2 precious little children. And in the middle of the night, someone threw an explosive device, Molotov cocktail, into their home, really retaliating against someone else, a brother-in-law, who wasn't even at the home at the time. And it took her whole life away. She lost her husband and her 2 children in a blink of an eye, and it left her badly burned. So Wendy's advice is to, you know, kind of embrace what is. For so many years, she lived with the idea that maybe the next surgery will make me beautiful. You know, I mean, it makes me start to cry because I think we do that, those of us who aren't burned, and we think maybe the next foundation I find, makeup will make me more beautiful, you know, or new hairstyle will make me feel beautiful, and that's just not where it is. She says, you know, we're born perfectly, and we have to live this life with the things that happen to us and turn our scars into stars.
She's embraced it.
She has embraced it. It's a remarkable story.
Wow, wow. Another remarkable story comes from your friend Stacey. She didn't want to share a photo, but she does want to share her message. What did Stacey learn the hard way, Liz?
Yeah, Stacey, bless her soul. You know, back in the days when we had the radio show for women.
Yes.
So I was on the show 9 to noon, and Stacey called in, probably feeling sorry for me. But she had a really interesting question. She says, you know, my husband wants to move. I've got these 2 kids in junior high. My husband wants to move to another state. I don't want to go, and my advice even then was, Stace, you got to go. Move with him. You know, don't separate out your family. And that to this day is her regret. She goes, I wonder what would have happened had I moved. You know, it was the end of their marriage. They just couldn't survive that type of separation. But more importantly, she would have asked tougher questions to her husband, too. She didn't know that he was grieving the loss of his mother so much. He was trying to find himself in another career opportunity, making more money, just driven that way. And she didn't understand it, so she just kind of put her foot down instead of asking some of the deeper questions.
So ask more questions, the takeaway from her. Ask the deeper questions. We do get so caught up in the day-to-day. We talk about women being task-oriented. We get consumed with those to-do lists or consumed with the day-to-day schedules that we kind of forget to dive deeper with the ones we perhaps love the most.
That's right. We're almost conditioned not to pry in some strange way. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I have friends still who are dating. It's like, you got to ask the tough questions, you know? I can do that. It's like we're taught not to do that, like it's disrespectful or something. It's like, this is your life on the line. Yes, you need to ask the deeper questions about pornography or what was his part in his divorce or last breakup. Anyway, go deeper.
Go deeper.
Yes.
Donna, let's learn from Donna. Tell us her story.
Donna, oh gosh. Do you remember me telling you about Donna? She my favorite thing I've learned from Donna is just to draw lines in the sand and have new, fresh starts, right? So in the morning, Donna will wake up, she'll turn to her husband and she'll say, "Who are you?" "Hello, nice to meet you." And it's a fresh start instead of that database of all those sins, you know, that we all can keep track of.
That's cute. So every day is a new day.
Every day is a new day, and Donna's really one of kind of letting go. I think her message was like, you know what, I don't need to control everything. I don't need to be a part of everything. She had an adult son. She was really worried he would never get married. He's in his mid-30s. Even I was looking for him, you know, for a bride, and he did beautifully on his own. So we don't have to control or manipulate. What was the message that came up?
Trust? Was it one of trust?
Yes, trust. Trust life, the process of life, right? And it will be just fine. It's interesting how things work out the way they work out, without me trying to finagle and manipulate them.
Which is great, I think, especially this time of year, as Mom said, Ken's off to college, right? And we're all kind of settling into this new normal. Right. I was talking to a mother over the weekend who her daughter is heading out to college for the very first time, and she's like, I'm feeling the need just to close my fist a little bit tighter, but trusting that she's taught her what she needs to do, and she can send her on her way with a smile. It's
like having a child. It's kind of like having your heart out there on legs, right? Totally. You just, I can't even imagine it, to tell you the truth. But it must be the greatest feeling, too, to help them grow those roots and wings.
Well, you are not going to ask a question of us that you're not willing to, I know, ask of yourself. So you have a life lesson as well that you're adding to the mix.
You know, lately I've met a lot of single women who are trying to decide, you know, why is this so hard trying to find a mate? And I get that after having dated a couple decades. I remember meeting Ben and the doors not closing like every other relationship. It seemed like the doors had closed. Gratefully so. I'm so grateful. That had been my prayer, that the wrong doors would close and I would deal with the heartbreak, right?
Yes.
And with Ben, the doors weren't closing. I couldn't figure out why not to keep moving forward. But I definitely remember sitting in my condo going, you know, I could stay here and live this single life. I'm pretty content, you know, right? I could keep my practice up and do volunteer work and be happy enough with friends and family. Or I could take this new trajectory. I could jump off that cliff and enjoy the fall, you know, enjoy falling in love and all that comes with it. The heartache sometimes and the joy of growing together with someone. And I'm so glad I took that, but I'll never forget that moment, Brooke, of just saying, you know, I could, in that fork in the road, I could keep going straight, or I could take this new trajectory.
I think it's important to acknowledge you had a happy, full life, but you chose to take that leap, and we're so glad you did, because look at Ben.
He's a good man. I was happy, but I also had that yearning for more.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I can't deny that I really wanted to share my life with someone. Not everyone who's single feels that way. I had a passion for it. I wanted that for my life.
So be willing to take the leap, be willing to take the fall.
If you really want it, you make it happen for yourself.
You go for it.
And you jump.
I love this. I love learning from these women as well. So thanks for bringing us their story, Liz.
Yeah, my honor.
We appreciate it.